The Russia-Ukraine negotiations in Istanbul took place. Moscow views this development as a positive step that could continue in the future. First, both the head of the Russian negotiation delegation, Vladimir Medinsky, and other representatives of the Russian Federation clearly thanked Turkish side for facilitating the organization for direct dialogue with Ukraine and for providing all necessary conditions. Moreover, concrete results were achieved. For example, both sides agreed on the exchange of large groups of captured military personnel from Russia and Ukraine. As for the continuation of the negotiation process, representatives from Kiev requested a personal meeting between the presidents of the two countries, although Moscow has not yet made a final decision. Furthermore, even a statement made by Donald Trump indicates that the American side also appreciated the outcome of the talks. Let's be honest, this is a major victory for Russian diplomacy. We remember that just recently, Russia was given a direct military political ultimatum by EU leaders, demanding that Moscow immediately cease all military operations for 30 days, while Ukraine would continue to receive Western military support, intelligence, and other assistance, effectively strengthening its military capacity. In response, the Kremlin declared its readiness for direct talks without preconditions, sent an appropriate delegation, and in the end, the Russian position was accepted and fully implemented. The fact that Donald Trump has now officially welcomed Moscow's position and the fact that negotiations took place is, from our point of view, a contribution to Russia's diplomatic successes. Of course, it is critically important to understand that Moscow will not back down from the fundamental decisions that were already agreed upon and initialed during negotiations with Ukraine at the end of 2022. These include the removal of the original preconditions and causes that led Russia to launch the special military operation. Most importantly, it involves the recognition of the current realities, namely the inclusion of 4 new regions into the Russian Federation, a matter that is not open for discussion. This is a fact that both the West and, of course, Kiev will have to accept. Secondly, Moscow firmly insists on the impossibility of Ukraine joining NATO, not now and not in the foreseeable future. This must be legally guaranteed as an outcome of the negotiations. Additionally, Moscow believes that any ceasefire formats can only be considered once binding decisions are made to end Western military support for Ukraine. These basic principles are well known. Moscow has been consistent in all its demands and approaches. Furthermore, we expect that a potential meeting, for example once again in Turkey, between President Putin and Donald Trump may be possible. It is precisely through direct dialogue between the leaders of Russia and the United States that a breakthrough in resolving the Ukraine crisis may be achieved. Everyone understands the role, influence, and capabilities of the US. In this context, we believe that the positive tone in Moscow-Washington relations remains intact. The results of the negotiations support such a development, and we therefore anticipate a possible meeting between Putin and Trump. Most importantly, we expect preparations of agreements that will be thoroughly worked through beforehand and potentially signed during that meeting.